Do we need to, review the Zoom procedures?
We won't need to review the Zoom procedures. The only thing I will remind everyone is of the microphones. You have to speak in the microphones or the public can't hear you. So.
Okay. All right. Approval of the agenda. Everyone's had a chance to look at the agenda. If somebody wants to move approval of the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Sean, second by Maria.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Comments from the chair. I don't have any comments at this time.
Here comes
And
Aaron.
general business?
We don't unless David Delcor has any questions. And he's a reporter from the Times-Argus, so he's probably here to watch more than participate. But David, you're always welcome to jump in with questions if you have them.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, then I think we're ready to just move to item 5. Mike, if you want to kick us off.
All
Public
right,
input
so
time.
I'm going to go through, we don't have any public here today. This is a public input session, so just by way of introduction, we have to warn public hearings 30 days in advance. So last week, we approved the warning for March 24th, but the document is done. It's all on the website, and I will go through a quick presentation. For anyone who's watching this at home during the week, you'll have a way of getting some background on the city plan. So it was warned, but we do have a public input meeting tonight and a public input meeting in 2 weeks on the 10th. So I'm gonna.
The login.
Yeah.
Just jump into this guy out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to go through about a 10-minute quick PowerPoint on where we are on the Montpelier City Plan 2025. This is the public input meeting. As we said, in 1 month, it will be the public hearing for the Planning Commission. And then eventually it will go to City Council for their public hearings. But for now, this is where we're at. So I'll give a little bit of the background and history. What is a city plan? Why is it important? We'll talk about the 12 chapters. Each one has 2 parts. Then the overall input process, and then what will happen for the rest of tonight, which may not be much because we don't have a lot of public, but I at least want to go through this presentation so everybody knows who watches this, how to find out the information in the background. So where to find the plan? Let's see if I can, don't know if that's. So if you go to the city website and you scroll down, and when this is done, I'll show you where these are. There's a green box which says popular links, and you will see on the bottom left, City Plan 2025. So you can hit that box and it will take you to the city plan. Or you can scroll down a little bit farther and you'll see these bigger icons and these little left and right carrots, and I'll show you. And if you hit the one to the right, it'll take you here where you can click on that page. Or you have the option of going up to the top where it says boards and commissions and click on Planning Commission. And here there are two places. You get the city plan on the left or the city plan on the right. And all of those will take you to the City Plan 2025. So when you click on those, it will take you to this website. And this is the City of Montpelier City Plan, and it is the city plan. So we don't have a paper document anymore. The actual website is the plan. This has been reviewed and approved by our attorneys and at the state. So it is an approved format. So you will notice up top three little tabs: welcome, plan chapters, and additional resources. And I will go through each one of these after we're off the PowerPoint. But this is what the welcome page looks like. And if you were to click on plan chapters, you would end up at a piece that looks like this, where you can scroll down and see links to all 12 of the chapters. And again, we will go through this in a little bit. And then additional resources. And if you were to click on the additional resources tab, the only links we have right now are to these various PDFs that you see, including, and this is the important one, the full archival Montpelier City Plan 2025. So if you were like, I don't want to use the web version, I would like to have a paper copy, you can click that button, and that's a PDF download of the entire, of all the pages turned into PDFs. Um, they're not dynamic anymore. They're fixed, but that will give you copies of all the words. So a little bit of background and history. For 50 years, we've called this document the Montpelier Master Plan, and it was most recently updated in 2010 and amended in 2017. And the Planning Commission talked about whether we wanted to keep that name, because it's, master plans are a term of art, and what we are making isn't a master plan, it's a city plan. So the decision was to change the name. So this version is called the City Plan, Montpelier City Plan 2025. So it's been completely new format, completely new content compared to the previous plan. This process started in 2016, developing the goals and strategies. Later, when we got to about 2022, 2023, we got a contract to build the web-based plan format with the separate chapters for each topic. We also have a new format for the implementation plan. So that's when we talk about two pieces. The implementation plan is there, and we will go through an example of that as well. And this plan will be valid for 8 years. It can be adopted sooner, readopted sooner, and amended sooner, but it will be valid for 8 years. So a lot of reasons, what is a city plan? Why is it important? City plans are not required under state law, but you need to have them if you want to adopt or amend your zoning. You also need to have them if you want to get involved in what we call state proceedings, these Act 250 applications, Section 248, which is the section that is very similar to Act 250, but is used for electrical grid. So if somebody wants to build a solar farm, it has a Section 248, or a wind tower, it's a Section 248. There's also city plans are also required for many state and federal grants, so it's very important that we have a plan. And if you have a city plan, these are the requirements you have to meet. You have to meet these 4 requirements on the side. And so how can it be used? There are a lot of ways it can be used. The most important of these is that we need a place where we have a community vision, and we decide and put down on paper what our goals are. So that way decision makers can make the decisions and staff can implement them. But we need to have a common vision. We need to have a place where we put all these big decisions down so we can start to make a path forward to how we can accomplish those community-wide goals. So the Planning Commission goals for this plan, when we started it back in 2016, 2017, we wanted to have the storyboards put together because it's a better way to communicate with the public. People generally don't download PDF plans and read them. So we wanted to have something that would be interactive and interesting that people can go back and work to. And the storyboards were designed to be that interface, that communication tool on what are our goals and generally what are we going to achieve them. The second Planning Commission objective was to make our implementation plans more strategic and actionable. So we really wanted to make sure that we talked through all of our aspirations and all of our goals, and then came up with concrete steps of how we can accomplish those goals. So the overall process that we've been through, we're in our last step here. We had 12 chapters to go through. We broke them into 4 groups of 3, and we reviewed 3 chapters at a time over the past year. So probably last year at this time, we were kicking off the first 3 chapters, and we're finally here at the last 3 chapters. We each one had different input opportunities, plus comments online and through various surveys. We had a table at the farmers market. And right now, as I mentioned, this is the final set of public inputs leading to the public hearing. We can't make any changes right now because the hearing has been warned, but we want to continue to take input so we can get a list going of things that might need to be changed, because at the end of the public hearing process, the Planning Commission can still make changes, and they'll make changes as based on that input that we receive from the public. So tonight's topics, primarily anything would be on the table for discussion because the full plan is now done and online. But the input was really to focus on land use, resilience, and community services. These were the last 3 chapters to be completed. Each one of these chapters, again, has 2 parts. There's a storyboard, there's an implementation plan. So now all 24 pieces are now on the city plan website, which I will show you in a few minutes. Each storyboard has the same format to it, has an introduction, a plan context, some synergies. How does this plan relate to other plans? Implementation summary, and then who's involved. So that way, if you want to know how we're accomplishing that goal, who's working on it, then that's the section. Each implementation strategy, the second half starts with aspirations and visions and has goals, which breaks that vision into smaller pieces, and then strategies that are the actionable pieces. So this is when we talk about the stories or the chapters, that's what's on the left, and we will see those in a minute. And when we talk about the implementation plans, we're talking about the document on the right. This is the examples for transportation. So the rest of tonight, leaving the PowerPoint, and then I'll bring up each of the storyboards, probably not because we don't have a lot of public here. I'll probably just walk through one. So anyone who's watching this during the week or tonight, they can go and see what it is that I'm talking about in this introduction here. And then if anyone has comments, they're always welcome to email me, mmiller@montpelier-vt.org, and that is the best way of connecting with me, or you can connect with any of the planning commissioners. So let me stop sharing this right now. And then I'm going to jump to this one. All right. So this is the city's website, and this is actually the city's website. So we talked about how to find the plan. So if you go to our city website, www.montpelier-vt.org, you can scroll down a little bit and you'll get to these popular links that I was talking about. And right here on the left, there is your city plan 2025. You could click on that box, or you can scroll down a little bit and you can end up here. And if it's not there, it's because it's over here. You can just click these carrots and it will bring it up, and you can click that box. Or you can go to boards and commissions and click on planning commission, and it will take you to this page where you've got the city plan over here on the left, and you also have it down here. So we'll click on it down here. And here it is taking you to the welcome page. So the welcome page welcomes you to the site. As you can see, our new city plan is now an online document, and this allows a lot of advantages, interactive mapping. And I'm not going to go through and read the whole thing. We do expect to have a video that will basically show you what I'm going to show you right now. So if anybody hasn't had the opportunity to watch this video comes onto this site and they're trying to find something, this will give a quick, brief introduction of how to navigate the site and how to find what you're looking for. The welcome page really quickly talks about why do we need a plan? How was this plan developed? Some of the regional impacts, and then a thank you from me to everybody who helped get this done. This has been a huge undertaking, and a lot of work has been done by a lot of people, and I have a lot of people to thank for getting this done. So, most of the meat of what you're looking for is going to be here in the plan chapters, where, as I mentioned, we've got all 12 chapters: economic development, historic, resilience, energy, arts and culture, natural resources, transportation, public safety, and community services. So there are 12 different chapters to this city plan. Under each one of these city plans, let's take land use, as that's one of our chapters tonight. It has a button for story map, a button for PDF, and a button for implementation plan. So if you click on the story map, and this is true for all of the chapters, this is the land use draft, guiding Montpelier for years to come. So each chapter has the same topics and shortcuts. These are shortcuts to jump down lower in the document if you want, but each one has an introduction and a planning context that gets into these various maps. So if we were to go to, in this case, the plan context, bringing it all together. So the land use maps from other chapters, the land use plan uses maps from other chapters to create a set of future land use maps. A future land use map to define areas, a zoning map to use in local regulations, and a designation map to use for state level programming. So when we talk about bringing things together, we can talk about the historic district, and you can click on any of these buttons over here on the right, and they will show you various parts of town. There's the historic district, and now I've got to find out where my button went. So the first map. There we go. We already found our first one, historic district. So there's a plus and a minus here. So the plus and the minus lets you zoom in. Got a legend, tells you you can grab the map and move around. So this lets you be able to navigate the site. So if you wanted to know if your property or if an area was in, so there are a lot of different pieces. The growth center, where are the floodplains? Here are the floodplains in town. And again, you can grab them and move them around and navigate them and see where the floodplains are, the river corridors, the complete streets, road typology, open space. Let's click on open space. So there we go. And you can see on the left, these are potential, these stripe ones are potential trails or greenways. And this comes from the green print plan that had been developed about 12 or 15 years ago. Highest priority conservation areas and where the city already owns. The city already owns some pieces that are priority areas. So anyways, these are all the different pieces that we pulled together. These are actually from other plans in this city plan. We have a current land use map. Again, we can zoom in and get a general idea of where residential and non-residential. It's a required map. So we've got our current land use map. We have a future land use map that's built based on the 2024 uniform land use classifications. So we've worked those in, and you can see on the left, it's got all of the various designation titles: downtown, enterprise, planned growth areas. So again, just like all these maps, they all work the same way. You can zoom in and zoom out. You can use your hand to pan around and see what future land uses are there. We've got our zoning map. This is our existing zoning map and our potential designations map. So the potential designations map, the state recently has changed some rules on the old rules would talk about your designated downtown in green, your growth center in brown, and now we've got some potential areas that are also eligible for growth center expansion. Those are the orange areas. and the blue area being Country Club Road. And then we have some other areas that would be eligible if they had pedestrian amenities. So we simply identify them, but there's no proposal to put them in at this time. But if there was an extension of a set of sidewalks, those areas could become eligible. So this map is necessary for the existing programs, but the state also now has new rules that are going into effect, but we don't have the rules yet. So you'll sometimes hear people talk about Tier 1A and Tier 1B areas with respect to Act 250. And so that's what we're going to be, this map will help define those areas in the future. So then we've got some discussion specifically about Country Club Road. And about what it can, we're talking this again, this is our future land use map. So this is a key location. We do include the map over here on the side, which we could click on and have it pop out. It's also down below, which I'll show it down there. That is concept A, by the way, which we will get hopefully approved in March when we meet with City Council. So that was the preferred concept of the public, and we're hoping that Council will approve that. Synergies. So again, synergies, the idea of the synergies discussion was so that way we would have a place where the public could get to understand when we talk about land use, in this case, land use is influenced by a lot of other chapters in this plan. And then we kind of go through a discussion of how does resilience and utilities and facilities and natural resources and transportation, how do they all interact with the land use plan? Other chapters have more or less, depending on how much they're influenced by other ones. But it's important to know how the land use plan helps other plans get implemented and how those plans may help or hurt the land use plan get implemented. And here's the implementation summary. And again, we reprinted the concept A. So on the left, this is the aspirations and goals, and these are identical to the ones that are going to be coming up when I show you the implementation plan and an implementation summary. So this summarizes the various strategies that will appear on the implementation strategy. And let me just show this. Who's involved? This talks about the implementation of land use plan relies heavily on the planning commission's development of the unified development regulations. So our zoning makes a big difference, but there are other ways such as different programs at the state that make a big difference in how we accomplish our goals. So this brief summary here in written form, you can click on that box and it will take you to the actual implementation board. So this is when we talk about the implementation plan, this is the implementation plan that we're referring to. We've got 2 aspirations and 5 goals. Yes. So our aspiration for land use is Montpelier will have a resilient, historic urban center with complementary mixed use, commercial and industrial areas surrounded by residential neighborhoods to grow the community and region. And our second aspiration was Montpelier's future will include protected and conserved areas that provide recreational opportunities and protect sensitive natural areas. So we wanted to make sure we captured both. This is land use, how we use our land. This is everything from Hubbard Park to Main Street. So those 2 aspirations try to capture what our future land use goals are. And then you can't accomplish those without breaking them into various pieces. So the 6 goals or 5 goals each break those 2 aspirations into a number of various pieces to ensure land use is available for future housing and economic opportunities. That's one goal. And then these are the strategies. How will we do that? How will we improve and expand our utilities and infrastructure, such as sewer and water, roads, and sidewalks to provide for current and future neighborhoods? How would we do that? Well, that's a number 4, which is a gold star. So you can look down, well, we would use the capital improvement program. or we would apply to have certain high density districts considered tier 1A and tier 1B under the new Act 250 law. So each one of these strategies in these boxes has an actual statement of what we're going to do. We're going to apply to have certain areas, high density districts to be considered tier 1A and B. There's a discussion of what that means. So the new Act 250 law allows certain areas of a town or city to be exempt from some or all Act 250 jurisdiction. The city should take advantage of these programs to advance the land use goals in this plan. The rules have not been developed, but applying for them should be a high priority when they are available. And that's a high priority. It has a medium cost. It would help implement goal number 1 and goal number 4. And the responsible party is the planning department. And in this case, this is a program. So we've tried to identify in these little circles what type of strategy it is, because some strategies are projects like implementing Country Club Road, some are programs like the capital improvement program, and others might be plans or policies. So there are various ways of accomplishing goals. And this goes through all these different possibilities. So the other place, let me just go back really quick to this out. If we went back to here, and we go back to the other tab, got to get back up top. When we had, oh, that one doesn't have the tab. I've got to get out of here. So if you go back to the three buttons, this was I was trying to get us back to. So the first one took you to the story map. The second one is the PDF. So this one here is you're looking at this and you're interested in finding more. And unfortunately, this is sitting at the bottom of mine because I've reviewed them all. This is literally the PDF printout of what you just looked at. And it has all the maps, a snapshot of each map that was in those buttons. So you'll notice each one of those is right there. Forest blocks, riparian connectors, all of the maps are all here. They're not dynamic. You can't zoom in, but a copy of each of the maps is included. And so the entire PDF. So if you were like, I'd rather print this out and look at a piece of paper than look at it on my computer screen, you can do that. And that's what that does. The last piece is the implementation plan, which takes you to where we just were. So those are the 3 buttons, and these exist for each one of these: housing, utilities and facilities, economic development, resilience, and so on. So, and then if you go to additional resources, again, that's the PDF of the landing page. The second one's a PDF of all the story maps combined. And the third one is the combined implementation plans. All 20 of the artboards of the implementation plans are all put together. Or you can click on the full archival and you can get all 3 of these combined into a single document. So if you wanted to print them out, it is 218 pages, just to give you a heads up. And those are all available for anyone to look at, or you can contact us and we can print out a copy and make that available to you. There's also a copy for viewing at the planning department, at the clerk's office, and in the city manager's office. So I'm going to stop sharing here. The next thing was supposed to be public input and discussion, but we don't have any public. So I think we're pretty much wrapped with that, but I'll take if there's any questions from any commissioners. So
I have one question. You mentioned that, people weren't really downloading the PDFs of the previous plan. Do we have, and I assume you were able to track that in some way? And are we able to get like website metrics for our new website of like unique users who are
We-
looking at it? I don't expect it
Yeah.
to be going gangbusters, but
We do have the old, some of the old numbers from 2022 on. So there are probably 500 hits on the city plan website. We don't know how many were downloads and how many were just people that found the website. But it's not a document that got pulled out and used and referenced very often. I'm sure there's people who are doing Act 250 permits that had to go and reference it. And I know there are for about 3 years now, we've had a lot of different projects from graduate programs around the country that have done projects. I'm sure a lot of the downloads were also from some of those different projects in there. So, but that complaint really went back to even to 2016 when we were starting the decision to go forward with a web-based plan to at least try to do something that would be different and get people more likely to look at it and interact with it.
So I just like to comment, and I don't know if this will come up, there'll be another opportunity to say it or not, but Mike, thank you and your team for all the work. We've heard a lot of feedback in this room, and I'm sure as we're out and about, people have opinions about the city plan. I've been on the planning commission for just over 3 years, and I think we were about halfway through when I started, and there were a lot of meetings. There were a lot of, wordsmithing and discussions about, policy priorities. And that's just this one committee. There's all kinds of other committees that provided input along the way. And so, I don't know, 2017 to 2025, I feel like, we're just at a place where, of course, we can always improve things. So I hope there are additional inputs, but, it's just like our zoning. It doesn't have to be done, but we shouldn't let perfection be the enemy of good enough. It's like, look, we've been working on this for a very, very long time. Let's adopt a plan. It's required to be able to use all these new designations under the laws, right? We have to have plans and updated maps and whatnot. So anyway, thank you for a tremendous amount of work. And there's just a lot of people that have been, involved and behind it. So, could we have had more input? I mean, we got the input we had. We talked about all of the comments that were made. We made changes where that was appropriate. We certainly can have more input. I know you talked about the process that you had last time you did one, that there were a lot of city council meetings where this was discussed. So, we can get better, but I just feel like it actually represents a tremendous amount of work. And I'm really happy. I know there's all this skepticism about what a web-based plan was going to look like. I'm really pleased with what it looks like. And yes, we can print it if you need that. But anyway, I just think it's a tremendous amount of work from the planning department and all the other people that supported it.
And yeah, thanks again to Mike for all your work. I know you've been working really hard. I thought that really just encapsulated this long, arduous process, which has been imperfect, but yeah, people worked really hard, and it's a very there's a lot to it. And I was just going to also just add that I hope that going forward, I think we talked about this, that we can just kind of make this, and I think the web-based nature of this helps. We can continue to just revisit our city plan and think about how it is capturing what's going on in Montpelier or not. And just continue to kind of work with it so that the next rewrite maybe will be easier.
Yeah, that is the plan. The hope with this document is that similar to the city zoning, we spent 5 years working on the city zoning, and once we finally got that done, every year we've gone through and made another amendment to make it a little bit better. And my hope is this has been a huge 6-7 year project, but hopefully we can now look at it and be responsive. Think about if we had this plan done in 2022 and we had the flood in 2023, we could have gone through and said, well, let's look at that resilience chapter and let's talk about that. Or we don't have a resilience chapter, maybe we should add it. And we don't know what's going to happen over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But as things come up, we can certainly come back to go through and say, we need to have a better economic development plan because of of something that has come up, and we just won't know what it is, but hopefully we can be a little bit more nimble and be able to kind of dive in deep on just one chapter and get a lot of input and a lot of thoughts. So that's my plan as planning director, is to get through that, and to be a little bit more targeted with our updates.
So was discussion of input by planning commission? I wasn't sure what that item can remember.
That was if we had public comments and
Oh.
we wanted to. So I have heard from two folks. I sent you MEAC's comments. So we do have some comments from them that we'll have to go through at some point. I didn't bring copies. Maybe I should have brought some copies and we could have reviewed some of that tonight. But you do have emails from MEAC on a couple of changes that they recommend, mostly to the implementation plan, because I took the implementation plan based on their 2022 project. And a few things have changed since then because of the, well, where they were going to do a wood chip, now they're going to do something different for a particular facility. So she's got some recommendations. That's good. I also got some comments today from Carol from Community Justice. She read through, because I sent out the plan to all of the department heads on Friday. So she reviewed it, and she had a couple of changes based on their programmatic changes. We have in the implementation plan, we have um, a housing program that they don't offer anymore, and another outreach program that they don't offer anymore. So she wanted to just have those edited. So I'll get that list to you, and we can't make any changes at this point. It's a fixed document, but after the public hearing, we can certainly, I'll have a list in the matrix to go through and say, these are the recommended changes that we've seen. And if anyone in the public has stuff, send it to us. We absolutely take it seriously. We look at every single comment and review it and decide whether or not it, is something that we should make to amend the plan. And we've made a lot of amendments. This plan is a lot better because of the input that we've received from a lot of members of the public. So thank you to the comments we've already received. And if you've got more, keep sending them to us and we'll keep making a list and get it reviewed. So hopefully this adoption process goes smoothly. And
Okay, yeah, I guess I didn't actually have a chance to read through the MEAC comments, so unless any other commissioners did and want to give input on it. I mean, we do have one more meeting right before the public hearing, so maybe we could.
yeah, we'll have another meeting in 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe we can, I'll speak for myself. I can try to remember to read the comments, and then you can also forward the comments from Carol from Community Justice. And we can discuss them, although we can't make changes, but. So
Do we want to see, is David, any comments that you wanted to, or questions that you wanted to throw out before we move on to consider the minutes?
No, I'm good. I may give you a call tomorrow, but I'm fine.
All right.
Okay. All right, let's consider the minutes. I guess if we take a few minutes to read them, we could move them together. There are no major changes.
That's from the 18th. Is that Josh Jerome's name is misspelled in the first time it's
Oh, yes, sure. Yeah. Extra R, good catch. Or Jermo.
Good catch.
Okay, does anyone want to move approval of both minutes with that correction?
I'm going to approve the minutes.
Second.
Sean, second by Gabe.
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Aaron's.
Great, thank you, Aaron.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was it very loud? Was it super loud?
I think you're just the only one on Zoom, so yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Uh, You now that you're talking, you could make a motion to adjourn if we have.
I moved to adjourn.
I will second.
Okay, all those in favor?
In favor, aye.
Right.
Hey, thank you, everyone. See you in 2 weeks.
See
or-
you in 2 weeks. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.